Yeah, I've been thinking about something that I want to add, or almost like a response to the video I made the other day about, um, how I don't so much agree with the term artist, but I like more artistry and becoming rather than having arrived. Um, and when I was making the video, I watched it afterward, and I used the word knowledge a lot. Like I was talking about having, you know, traditional knowledge in the martial arts, um, and and these kind of things. I talked about knowing quite a bit, and what I realized, and it's not a new revelation for me or anything, but it really made the impression on me watching my video and seeing how many times I use that word knowledge or knowing or this kind of thing. Um, I realize English is really an impoverished language for talking about some kinds of some levels of understanding or knowing or what have you, because we only have so many words we can use to talk about knowledge. Um, there's to know. I know such and such. Um, there's I believe such and such, or there's in my experience blah 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 blah. But what I see as lacking is a, a, a form of the words of the concept skill that is a verb, right? So I can't say, I can say I know such and such, but I can't say I skill such and such. And to me, a skill, to have a skill is much stronger than to have a knowledge, because a knowledge is kind of like in your head. It's like belief. Um, it's all very intellectual knowledge, but a skill is really in the full body. It's embodied, right? It's like riding a bike is a skill. So you learn that skill and it's in you, and you'll never forget it. It's embodied, and nobody can tell you that how to ride a bike the way that you know is untrue, because it's tested by you all the time. You know how to ride a bike. You know it in all these cells of your body. It's not just an intellectual knowledge, and there's no way of expressing that with the English language. If you want to start out a sentence like I know, but you want to say it as though it comes from that level of skill, there's no way of really expressing that. The closest way is to say in my experience, but even that, it's saying in my experience this is the way it is, and yours is going to be different. But really, when you have a skill, that's the way it is. It's concrete. It's the most sure form of knowledge. It can't be debated. That's the way it is, because you've done it and you've been doing it, and you know that that's the way it is. That's the way it is because you've done it with your whole body. Having a skill is that way. It can't be argued. The knowledge that comes from that level can't be argued. But I think when we call it knowledge, we diminish it, because it gets wrapped up, in that same category with the intellectual stuff. And the intellectual stuff is just that. It's just ideas. It's not like a skill. So, to me, I look at that differentiation between knowledge and skill, and I'm after skill. In my training these days, what I'm after is gaining skill. I'm not so much interested in knowledge, and I want skills that reflect what it is to be a complete human being. So in the martial arts, those skills are movement, are different ways of movement, that, I think it's ultimately what I'm looking for is the full range of movement, not just the movement that you can use in a physical altercation with somebody else, but a full range of being able to move in the ways that a human being is capable of moving, and doing it like this, is, you don't even have to think about it. It's like riding a bike. You're going to respond to the situation, or to your own progress in moving through your environment with the correct movements. If you get into a physical altercation, it's going to be like that. It's done. You don't have to think about it. Your body knows how to respond to everything. Just like a little bird flying around its environment. You don't see birds like, okay, yeah, you see them flying into windows once in a while, because we've thrown things into their environment that they're not evolved to understand right away. They got to learn about the whole windows thing, or cars coming at them. They learn that to get out of the way or to not fly into the reflection. But out in their environment that they were evolved to have, you don't see birds crashing into trees and stuff like this. And they evade predators. You see a big flock of little birds, and it's just like a cloud moving. They fully embody all the different ways that they need to move. And human beings, these days especially, because we've kind of forgot how to be human, our movement is very awkward in this world, and very few people get to any level of embodying the kind of physical abilities and movements and liberty, freedom of expression of movement, that we are capable of. And that's what I'm interested in, and that's all skill stuff, and you can't talk about it in the English language appropriately. You got to use this concept of knowledge, which just is not truly what I'm intending to say, I'm intending to convey. It's just the only word that's out there for me.